Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to hopefully the beginning of a new area in how we're going to do e-commerce or commerce experiences with AEM. My name is Giancarlo Berner, and I've been working with AEM, formerly CQ, and the JCR content repository for almost 20 years now. So you can imagine that it's a quite exciting moment for me to introduce maybe the most advanced way of doing commerce experiences today. Okay. And of course, we're going to resolve the teaser from that video and show you how you actually can configure new commerce elements into any website by an author and not by IT. But this didn't come just yesterday. This is a story that started in 1998, so more than 20 years ago, when Day Software launched the Content Bus, which is the predecessor of today's JCR Content Repository API or technology. The whole solution, the CQ, CMS, and the Content Repository got a boost, in the marketing boost, the time when, in 2010, Adobe acquired Day Software. So that's when the whole content repository technology got very famous, and in fact, so famous that the analysts Gartner and Forrester named AEM the leading CMS contender in their both waves and quadrants. But then soon, we started realizing that large web initiatives require some sort of monetary component. So there's always something like you need to book or reserve or buy. There's hardly any large website where you don't have these possibilities anymore. And that, of course, as we know, AEM is not really predestined to do e-commerce. And of course, at some point, even the analysts started boosting AEM. And in 2017, Forrester kicked AEM off the leading throne due to the lack of commerce capabilities. But then Adobe did their homework, and I would be courageous enough today to lean out of the window and say that AEM today is perhaps the most advanced CMS when it comes to building commerce experiences. So why is that? As you can see here, AEM put a lot of investments into their commerce capabilities for AEM. It started in 2012 when Adobe was playing with integrating AEM and Hybris. And the result of that work is what you know today as the CIF, so the Commerce Integration Framework, which is a powerful platform that AEM users can use to integrate AEM with the most popular commerce solutions on the market. Then, of course, we all know that in 2018, by surprise, Adobe acquired Magento. Again, this is to enforce commerce capabilities for AEM. Okay. But at the same time, we at Kleiber Digital, we introduced JECIS 1, the JCR e-commerce framework, which is a bit of a different concept because we come from a content repository background, so we don't really believe in relational databases anymore. And that's going to be part of what I'm going to show today, how you can use the JCR content repository to build complex and multi-usable commerce environments. This is one of the benefits why AEM is such a popular CMS. This is mainly because of the Content Repository API. So this API allows users or authors to generate new content elements dynamically, which in a database world requires some sort of data modeling, entity relationship model changes, and things like that. So if you look into an integration today, the first thing you will notice is that the commerce data reside somewhere in a database in the DOMs of an application stack. So you always need code just to get to the data. The other thing you will notice is that if you want to tap into the commerce functionality, you have to find a way how to get to that commerce solution and to that commerce engine. This requires what we call integration. So Adobe built a whole platform to do that. But it comes, of course, at a cost. You lose a lot of the flexibilities, not only on the CMS side, but of course you can't take advantage of all the capabilities on the commerce side, because these systems are built for their specific needs. So what would you think if we will put the commerce content into AEM managed by the content repository, and just imagine we could put the commerce functionality, the complete commerce engine, into AEM managed by the OSGI framework. Yes, this is actually the concept behind the JCR e-commerce framework. In our world, we believe that today products are not physical, or e-commerce are not physical products anymore, and the catalog and so on. A product is content, it's an experience. If you go to any shop, it's always an experience until the moment you buy something. So this experience is content. And AEM is already the leading CMS on the market. So why not use AEM to build the commerce content? The same is with the commerce functionality. It's all code. We have OSGI, we have Java, we have powerful frameworks, we have servlet engines. Why not put it there? So JECIS as a commerce framework comes in two parts. We have the commerce content management web application tool, which we just call GIM. That authors and administrators use to create and manage the commerce content. In addition to that, JECIS has a powerful API. That API is not only used to manage the commerce content in a similar way the JCR repository does it, but it also contains all the commerce functionality you need around traditional commerce experiences. So from promotions with actions, carts, checkouts, payments, shipping, taxes, everything is already in this API. And we decided to go with an API because we believe in the future developers must react by adding new commerce functionality. And perhaps also one day we might not even call it commerce anymore because everything is content. So the API allows developers to extend the functionality at any given time, even when your commerce experience is public. The same thing you're actually doing with AEM today with generic content or regular websites. And of course, for the same reason, you actually purchased AEM. So there are, of course, a lot of advantages to use this system. Same thing why Adobe acquired Day Software in 2010. So we look at e-commerce as an experience. So we don't distinguish anymore really between a regular website and a commerce website. Everything is content. Then we don't talk application-centric. We believe in APIs and content, and that's how you're going to design and build your commerce experience. And of course, there's some other advantages like the full scalability. And one thing I'm going to show you today is by using this concept, an administrator or author can create new commerce features into the commerce environment without writing a line of code. Everything is content, right? So instead of showing you another 280 slides on how this thing could work, I'm quite sure you would like to see this stuff in reality. So I prepared, this is a prototype. We're launching it in Q4, but this is a prototype prepared for Evolve, so don't nag around the designs of the web demo site we're using. It's horrible. We are engineers, we're not designers. So, sorry, quick. What I wanted to cover first is to show you how you can run two different industries in one commerce experience. Then we're going to do a little excursion through JIM to show you what the work of an author or administrator is in the commerce environment, and you're going to see the author will get a lot more power to manage the commerce content. Then one important thing to understand, if we already claim that we look at products as content or as an experience, we also of course use product profiles. So I'm going to talk a bit about the scalability and the beauty of it. And then I'm going to resolve my promise that we're going to show you how an author adds the amenities to a hotel commerce site. I hope everything works. Okay, this is our, oh shoot. Is this better? Oh, now it's black. Okay, this is better. This is our little demo site. You see just 3 navigate. This is really just for Evolve to show. We decided to go with a hotel, with a resort that has rooms, because you all know managing a hotel or rooms in an e-commerce environment is quite tricky. But at the same time, we also have a boutique inside that hotel, which has traditional products and of course an online shop to purchase. So we are mingling a resort environment, commerce environment, with a traditional shop environment, all on one website with 3 navigation buttons. So if you look at our little room suite, and again, just an example. I love the pictures though, but the site is horrible. You see these rooms, that's all served out of the JECIS, out of the commerce framework. So there's no real difference between product, shops, and a hotel room. It's all configurable. We can also jump into one room. You get the information out of JECIS, and it's all configurable. You decide, or your content strategist will discuss and decide what content do you want to promote for commercial purposes. And the beauty you're going to see, you can change this stuff anytime. It's content. It's author-driven. At the same time, the hotel, oops, someone sitting on Wi-Fi. At the same time, we just did a boutique with some products, and because everybody will ask me, can it also do product catalogs? Of course it can. Everything is content. So this is the shy way of showing you, yes, it reads a product list out of the content repository. So it uses the traditional JCR content repository with the JECIS API to build these things. Okay. You can also click on a product and hello. Oh, okay. It's Friday. I think systems work a bit different. You see, this is again the experience you build, but the content is served. The commerce content is served out of JECIS. You can add it to the cart. Yeah, it's showing here just for the sake of showing, yes, it has added this product to the cart. And there's also a little checkout, because that's usually the first thing people ask me, can you do a checkout? Yes, we just showed here a multi-step checkout, which you can do. It's how developers would do the checkout thing, including shipping. You can choose which. And this is just demo. Every e-commerce platform will be different. But all this content is served out of JECIS. This is the client side of it. I'm logged in as client. This is a shipping module, which we played around. We used the FedEx thing, the table stuff, the complicated thing to do. There are, of course, APIs, and then you simply just connect to that. And you can do the whole process. Yeah, you can select your payment, and then we use PayPal. There is a confirmation page. It's really up to your developers or your designers what you want to do on this thing. You can you can rebuild the whole Amazon checkout process if you want. It's all content, right? So let us take a look how authors manage the commerce content, or actually today, the commerce environment first and then the commerce content. I have it, oops, here. So you see, we can simply install Gym as a regular application, a web app, like any other thing. It's out of the box, installed easily. And the first thing I like to start with, select store means the whole content structure is hierarchical. So we're taking again advantage of the powerful hierarchical structure. And don't ask me why 2019 we still don't have any hierarchical databases or any other structures. I guess that's just the way it is. Here, this is all a store. You can select, oops. A store it's like a content container. So all the commerce data of this store is collected in one container, and you will believe me if I tell you, you can create unlimited stores. So this is how you can build diversified industries. You can have, as we did here, the hotel resort. Then you see here the boutique is here too. It's just a store. And I had 2 other stores for testing and playing purposes. If we look at the 2 custom commerce features, we structure all the commerce functionality, all the commerce features in what we call features. So default means these are all out of the box. And for this prototype, we configured most of them. These are the main ones. They're a little more coming to it. But you get an idea. This is all out of the box. And this the user can use to create the commerce content. And the ones you configure for your specific industry are coming in the custom features. And I'm going to show you in a moment that this is all configurable. So there's no 3 months waiting with IT. So we created here the hotel commerce environment, where we say that the rooms, for that we created custom feature, and there's also something like resort fees. I'm sure you all like those. But that's specific to a resort or to a hotel, and not necessarily to the boutique or so. So that's why we put it as custom features. And of course, you can use the rest of it too. And the way this works is, you can see here, we have, it's like a content entry form for the commerce data. So similar to what you see in a commerce solution, where you have the entry forms, the content forms, we have this too. But the big difference is that the lists, the search, and the functionality you want around it, that's all configurable. So we're using the JCR content repository to configure these properties and fields dynamically. Then I told you about product profile. This is, again, using hierarchical content structure. So in our world, a product is like a content container. So everything belonging to that product is in that specific container, and we structure it, the product, into profiles. So the real product data is actually in a profile. And the reason we do that is so that we can extend each profile with specific data. So you don't have to allocate fields in the database. You can just say, oh, we have a suite which, I don't know, has a jacuzzi inbuilt. So all that jacuzzi information you don't need to create for all the products or all the rooms. So you can just create it for one profile, which has that, because it's a profile, right? It's not a restricted or closed-in database table. Okay, so in this case, we created one product. That's the room product. And each room or each type of room has its profile. If we look at the boutique, here, we're using only default features, so we have out-of-the-box products. You see here that I have, for each product, I create an individual product entry, and each product has just one profile. So it doesn't really matter if you have one product with a lot of profiles or a lot of products with just a few profiles. That's up to how your organization works with the commerce data. So this gives you the flexibility to decide how do you want to organize your structure. From an API point of view, it doesn't really matter. Remember, everything is content. Okay. So let me switch back to the hotel. And we'll pick a room. And for the presentation for today, I've broken it into get the product, get the profile, and the profile properties, so it's easier for you to understand how this is built up. In the real GUI, of course, it's going to be all in one form, a lot easier to maintain. But as you can see here, we have tabs to enter the content. So here are the room details. We added 2 room details. You can add descriptions, dimensions, the size of the room, and all this is configurable. So we just, for the sake of the presentation, we kept it a bit easy. So this has a different tab organization because it's different content than the boutique would have. Note here that we don't have amenities, right? That's part of that little video we showed in the beginning. I'm going to add it in a moment and show you how this is done. And of course, you can add additional tabs, additional commerce content to your product. And that's all dynamic. And the API reads it and understands that there's new content or new new features. Okay, so I don't know if you all remember CRXD. Huh? Old days. This thing is 20 years old. Yeah, listen, you know it, right? So I'm using this here to show you that the commerce con we were talking about, this is the boutique store, this is the hotel store. You see that the content is all there. So it is in a format that you can use any software or any program or any API you write to deal with that content. And you see, and again, this will be, of course, in a GUI for the office, but I wanted to show you how it's configured. DFG, our dynamic feature generator. Okay. So you see here, these are the ones specific to this hotel, and here we would have the out-of-the-box ones. So you can add anytime anything to it. We don't recommend adding anything here to the default because we might update that in the future, but you are absolutely free to add anything to your commerce environment. We call this commerce environment. So you can really do anything you want. You can start from scratch, you can copy paste, which I'm doing. So you see here, I prepared something called tab demo amenities to show you how you can add new commerce content just by configuring into your converse environment. So instead of, it will take me about 15 minutes to type all the notes here because I'm not using the GUI. So I prepared this tab here. And I'll copy it and I'll paste it. So now in the product profiles for the room, we have a new tab. Okay. Let me go quickly just to, oops, it's not this one, I need to show it. If we go back to resorts and look at the, you see here, there are no amenities. Okay. Now we go back to our gym. Let me just refresh it again. Oh, wants me to log in. Okay, we'll select again our hotel, our rooms. We select the product. We only have one for the 4 rooms. We'll select a room and look at the profiles. And if everything goes well, you see here we have a new tab, Demo Amenities. So this is all configured. Now we have a GUI for it. There's some tricks behind the scenes that you can order the tabs, to lay out the design, all that. We call them themes, so even that is adaptable. You can change the color, you can go crazy on it. But what I wanted to show you is now we have a new tab, and if you remember, we had 2 properties, an amenity ID with some configuration thing here. You see bootstraps, row size, and all that. That's all in the GUI, so don't even worry about it. It's more to show you that this is all configurable because no one will believe me. And we have here a title. So let's go to Demo Amenities, New, and because of this configuration thing, you see here, I get now the entry form. It has these 2 fields I configured, and I'm using custom property names. And that is the beauty of the whole JCR repository thing. You can't do this with the database, okay? Because we can create custom fields on the fly. You configure, it's like using a dialog in a component. So, amenity 1, let's call it first amenity. Okay, save. This should be a... Okay, and you see here, my first amenity is added. Evolve, whatever. It's an ID. Oh, they will kill me if they see this. And this is still a bit of a prototype. Of course, you will be brought back to the same tab you just saved. All these things are being worked on right now. But it's, for me, it's to show we have now 2 amenities here. Oops. And let me refresh the website. And you see, now these 2 amenities show up on the page. Okay, yes, it will take a developer to write this line of code. We cheated a bit because you don't want to see me code here at the line where read the 2 amenities and show them there. There is a bit of developer work needed. But to get to this point where you have 2 new fields in your commerce environment, you added the commerce data. And that's all done by authors or administrators. Okay. The developer will get, hey, maybe a Jira ticket, please add the line for the amenities. This is how it looks like. He's doing the work, testing and deployment. So the only deployment part is going to be this here. All the rest is done by authors or administrators, or maybe super administrators or super users, but marketers can now decide Saturday is an event. We need to add something to show that there's a new event, or we have a new, I don't know, a new jacuzzi in the Atlantis suites. So you can add that commerce content dynamically, immediately, and it's up to the developer to add a section here which shows the promotion. Or you can have predefined message fields, and then you can just do your commerce content. So, and of course, we showed you 2 different industries, hotel rooms and boutique products, but you can do anything. So whatever it's not necessarily just commerce, right? It's whatever you think you can configure and use on your website, you can do. It's actually reusable content. Now, where comes the functionality? That is in the API. So if you develop features like we do here with gym, oops, for example, promotions, then you want to configure them like maybe an action, buy 3, get 2, no, pay 3, get 2, no, get 2, pay 3, no, okay. But 20% discount. Let's stick with the discount. So we have already out of the box actions which are programmed, but it's an abstract class. So a developer will just take that class and add the functionality for your special actions. Like if you buy green socks and a blue shirt, you're going to get bananas for free or something. That is what the developer can add as functionality using the API. So it's not an isolated engine where you're going to wait 3 months until someone extended it. This you can do easily. Also here, we have what we call, the main features are really your commerce actions, like promotions, client management, order management, whatever you think is important, you put in the main feature. It's all configurable. It's item 1. Then setup is where we say that where authors prepare their commerce site. Like you would select which payment modules do you have, because you have different stores, you might have 5 or 6 different payment modules, but for the rooms, you only need a booking engine. So you don't need 5 different payment options. So here the author would say which payment options I'm going to use. And all this is extendable, configurable, and this is what we call configuration features. So, yeah, there are just a few of them. So we have watches. This is watch list. We have image types. So when you connect to the dam and you have 5,000 images, or you have, maybe you saw the AI session yesterday and you use Brett's AI base search kind of thing, you can assign image types. You say there's a checkout image type, there's a product list image type, new product image type, whatever. And you can define all your image types you have, and that's how you build the association to what's going to be shown on the website. And the developer just needs to know, okay, for checkout, I take the checkout image type and show it. We have also, oh, I don't have it here, order status. If you look at order management, a lot, you see 50 different ways of doing orders. Okay, in some cases you have to pay first, in some cases you have invoice, everything. You can define your own order status and say, this is how my system will work, and then you just code around it. Then the last thing I wanted to show too is here, for this part, the dialog. This is all AM dialog. Here you see we are selecting the product profile directly out of the JECIS workspace. We took the workspace out of the /content world so that it can be ported, can be used for other systems. You might need to export it into a database or whatever, but you can use dialogs to select content elements, or we didn't do it here, but you could of course do a JSON list where you can select things and do one. That's all out of the box. Okay, so we don't have to change the dialog to do these things. Doesn't this sound a little like the future of e-commerce? Okay. Okay, so let me go back here. So, so what we did, we used two industries on a quickly assembled site, small site, but we used two industries. Rooms, which were configured for hotel rooms, and the boutique. Then we took a look at Jim, our commerce content management tool, which you use to manage content, but you also use it to configure your commerce environment. We didn't have the GUI in there. I showed you via CRXD, but there's of course a GUI where you can create new tabs, add new content elements, similar to what you would do with a dialog, except not the developer does the dialog, the authors will do it. Then we looked at the product profiles, and we resolved that little teaser in the video. We added new content elements to the rooms and saw it on the website. Here, to summarize, this is just a collection of the features, of the commerce features, which are out of the box. So this, we have order management, client management, shopping carts. You still want to adapt the shopping cart to your design, to your requirements. I recommend though, since everything is configurable and a lot of it is content, that you have some sort of a commerce content strategist at your site who organizes your commerce content. How does your industry look like? What are the elements we need? What do we need to do? I think that the role of a content strategist gets here more and more important, but it's still a lot cheaper than having, I don't know, tons of developer teams trying to write code to make these things work. We have a lot of out-of-the-box modules, but it's also prepared as API so that you can create your own payment modules and whatever you want to do. Okay. Then the watch list, I like to point out, we are using an event listener so that if someone or if a client would add a product or a room or whatever it is as a watch list item, then there's an event listener that will recognize changes to the commerce content. So if you reduce the price, if you create an action, and then you can send out a notification to whoever's interested. It's almost like on the stock market when you try to say, how low must the price go until I'm going to buy? It's a similar process. We also have what we call markets, because the beauty of having all commerce as content means we can also structure the content and say we define different markets. So a market could be a demographic structure, like we structure our products for kids, for youth, but it could be also regional, where we say everything on the East Coast is a bit different than on the West Coast and things like that. So you can use the markets feature to structure your commerce content to all sorts of market demands. You can also prepare events where you say there's this is a promotion for events, and now you know you have an event in New York. You just change the market to New York, and all that event stuff is valid for addresses in New York. Then, of course, before people will ask me, yes, it's by design headless. We are using JCR API is headless since 20 years, so there's nothing really to add to it. It's headless. And there are systems, of course, you might have already a database in place, you might have already a commerce system. Yes, you still can do your integration thing. We have something called the external content provider. It's like a connector which maps JCR content structure into database tables and vice versa. And of course, you still can use CIF, Adobe's Commerce Integration Framework. You can connect to Magento. It's all open. And that's why we think that today, with JECIS 2 coming out, that AM will be perhaps the most modern CMS to build commerce experiences.